here.
Welcome.
We're 5 minutes early, which is not normal for us. So, sorry for being early. Well, I guess we're a few days late, too. We're supposed to be here Saturday night.
Wednesday morning.
And, well, I didn't schedule the Wednesday morning one because of the little accident we had, but I'm looking in the chat here. It looks like... Whoa. I'm looking in the chat here. It looks like... Whoa. What do you mean repeating myself? Okay.
Please say hello if you're watching us.
So, what is that? I can't read that with her screen's cracked.
My phone's a little screwed up.
Jared says, "Oh no, firewood doctor, fun times. Could have been worse. Could have rolled down the hillside. Did that almost happen?" So yeah, the excavator. I don't know if I can. I was hoping I was gonna do it on the. Yeah, I can't. I was hoping I could share my phone screen on the YouTube live stream, but I don't. Looks like you can't. That's a shame. They should make it so you could do that. Yeah. No. Oh well. Well, if you keep an eye out and you're subscribed to the channel and you have the notifications turned on, I'm gonna do a video, kind of talking about what happened, I guess, and. Oh, Firewood Doctor says, now I can see the live feed. There you go. So yeah, I'm probably going to do a video just kind of showing the pictures of this I took the day it was flipped over. As you can see in the thumbnail for this live stream, you can see the excavator tipped over, and it's actually, the top of it was kind of facing downhill, because, yeah, I could have been positioned a lot better. That's kind of half of it was, I was sitting with one track leaning down the hill and the other track uphill, rather than having the tracks going long ways up and down the hill with the grader blade pushed down towards downhill, leveling the whole machine out. Would have been far less likely to have that happen. And I was lifting a pretty good amount of weight, so if I had the bucket and everything a little bit closer to the machine and I turned a little bit slower, it probably wouldn't have tipped over. I think I was just in a little bit of a hurry that morning because I was trying to help someone out, and I was supposed to be, a lot of things kind of led up to that, and we were supposed to be unloading it like the day before, and I had a job to do that morning, so I was kind of trying to hurry, and I picked the load up, and I wasn't sitting properly on the hill, and turned really fast with it, and when I did, it just kind of caused the machine to go like this, and it tipped right over downhill. The load that I lifted, the excavator really shouldn't have had that much trouble with picking it up. It didn't have the trouble picking it up at all. It was just, the way I swung it around the way I did. I think it was like just enough to tip it over too, because it tipped so slowly that by the time I even noticed it was tipping, it was too late, so it was kind of like going like this. You can use mine on the bed. Let's see. Jeffrey, Firewood Doctor, says,
Jeffrey?
Yep. Could have been worse, could have rolled onto the Wicked Witch of the... yeah, Wizard of Oz style. So yeah, it's now tipped upright. That morning we called a wrecker. They came out with one of them big trucks with the big winches and all that on it, and they pulled it back over, which, as you can imagine, isn't a cheap service. So we had that done, then looked over the damages with my local friend Matt, who may be joining us on the live stream. I should have sent him a message to let him know we were doing this. If he's subscribed to the channel, which I think he is, he should hopefully get a notification. Probably should have sent him a message. Sorry, Matt. So he came over and took a look at the machine, and I felt a lot better after he did, because he kind of pointed out and looked over everything and looked at everything that it needed, and it's still not cheap, but it definitely could have been a lot worse. So we should hopefully have it fixed here in a week or so. And then when we do, I get a bunch of work to do with it around here, because they are delivering the mobile home hopefully within the next couple of weeks. So really, really, no, they're going to. I hope they do. Come on now. I don't think the dog believes me. I'm not sure I believe me. After all the trouble we've had with trying to get somebody to deliver this thing for us and transport the house for us, we found somebody locally who will transport it, who is a reliable, well-known, local family-run company. They move one mobile home a day, so they move like 7 mobile homes a week. So their equipment is super high tech. They actually, there's a video, there's a YouTube channel. They actually live locally here. They just moved over here from North Carolina, and they had the same company move their mobile home. So that's where I actually got the referral from, was from Sam over at Green Acre Homestead. He lives right here also in Tennessee. If you want, go check out his channel. That video, I think, got like almost 1 million views on it. They put that video out like 6 months ago. But it's a pretty wild video. That mobile home came down off a hill in North Carolina. The way they brought it down the hill was just crazy. And to see them bring that down off that hill like that with the equipment they use definitely made me feel pretty confident that they're not going to have a problem moving ours, because ours is a 50-foot and Sam's was a 70-foot. It's I think theirs was a 14 by 70 and ours is a 14 by 50. So ours is, you know, what, 40% smaller, whatever, 30% smaller. So it's smaller, lighter, should be a little bit easier to maneuver, and it's not going to be, it's going to be taken out of a somewhat tricky spot, and I feel it's going to be a tricky spot to bring it into. They actually think it's easier to bring it in than it's going to be to take it out where it's coming out of. So I thought that was interesting. Mobile home moving video was something else to watch, Firewood Doctor. Yeah, it was. So like I said, I'll one of these videos coming up going over the mobile home and the move. I'll probably do a video on the move also, and I'll put a link over to their channel in that video specifically. You can check it out. I would definitely check it out. It was one of the most fun videos I've watched in a while. So Jeffrey, Firewood Doctor says, and I thought my 14 by 60 was tiny. Yeah, so 14 by 50. We've always kind of talked about wanting like a tiny home.
Right.
So our tiny home's going to be a tiny mobile home, I guess. But
For now.
For now, yeah. It's got good bones, so the walls, the floors, for the most part, the frame, the roof, everything's pretty solid. It's just cosmetically it really needs to be updated. It's probably nothing's ever probably been done to it. It's a 92, 30 years old. The person who lived in it died 5 years ago, so nobody's lived in it for the past 5 years. And it sat with a few air conditioners in the windows, which caused water to come into the windows and rot a couple of the walls, just in one area underneath each two of the windows, which led to rotting out the floor under one of the windows, just in that spot. So aside from that, really, for the most part, there's like a soft spot in the kitchen underneath the sink, probably a leak there, because I was underneath the house today, nailing up all of the underbelly cloth and stuff that's underneath there. So I've seen some spots, but nothing serious. I've seen underneath most of that mobile home today, and it actually overall looked really good. So I'm pretty happy with it. It's got a good core skeleton for us to work from, and the roof is good, which is really important. The siding is all intact and in shape. The windows are pretty old and don't look very efficient. They look pretty much like shed windows. We've never owned a mobile home or lived in one, so it'll be interesting. But I think, the doors seem... Stacey hit me. What I did?
Stop doing what you're doing.
Oh, sorry. Just... So, yeah, you're distracting me now. It's your turn.
You were talking about the windows and the doors.
The windows and the doors remind me of what you'd see in, like, a camper.
They need to be replaced.
So, we're going to put some more better windows in there. I thought you were copying me because there's somebody... Oh.
Somebody did comment.
Jeffrey said, Stacey, my mother always said, build her a beautiful home, and you should read the chat because your phone's broken and I can't read that. Really? Build yourself a nice garage, that way you always have a nice place to stay when you're in the doghouse. Alright. Well, plus we have 2 campers, a barn, and I have a sawmill, so I can always build myself a literal doghouse.
Right. Mike made this trail in the back of our, well, I guess you'd call it the side of our lot.
It's the back, middle. Kind of the
So
middle.
anyways, sometimes when the kids are driving me crazy or Michael, I go out there and sit and they're going to put a bench out there for me.
Yeah, so Ryan's he's built some furniture, and that's another reason why I wanted to share pictures on this stream so you can see the furniture he's been building. He's been doing a really good job with that, but so yeah, Ryan's been making some benches, so we'll put a couple of them benches out there in the woods. Emma has been running, and she's actually going to the state meet next weekend.
Next weekend in Knoxville.
For cross country, so
Yep.
Good job to her. How long did you say that trail was that we have on our property? Half a mile?
Oh, I thought you timed it.
I thought you checked it. Oh, we have that trail is probably, if you go around it once, it's probably a half a mile to maybe a mile. It's a pretty good little trail through the woods. Eventually I'm going to have it go a lot further back. It's about halfway between here and the cave, and then it turns around and goes over to the other property, cuts over, and then up that side of the property and back onto our driveway. But I do want to extend the trail down to where the cave is, and then around the property back down in the back a little bit more and do some clearing. Anyway, that's a lot of work that's going to happen in the future.
He's going to build a woodshed now.
Jeffrey said, go Emma! Yeah, so we're gonna, I was just saying to Stacey, I was like, oh, we got all that work done, we got the log splitter built, we get all the wood bucked up, and got everything ready to go for the firewood. Then she cut and split a big stack of firewood today, and now I have more work to do.
It wasn't really that much, maybe a half a cord.
Yeah. So now I gotta build a woodshed, because she's gonna be going to town doing that, so I'm gonna have to build probably several woodsheds. Because we would like to. We've been following and watching these videos. Really? We've been watching these videos from a channel. I think it's called Life Off Grid or Living Off Grid. Most of his videos, he has it in the end of his title. It says something about living off grid in a tiny house. I forget his name. I think it's Roy. Anyway. He's a guy, I think he's probably about 50 years old, lives in Missouri, and lives off-grid on like a couple acres, built a tiny house that he tells everybody he built a tiny house. He built a tiny house on a mobile home frame. So he bought this couple acres for like $4,000. It had a mobile home on it that they totally just tore off the frame, and then he rebuilt a tiny house on like half of that frame. It's like a 200 square foot house. It's tiny.
It's tiny.
It's smaller than this. You were telling me to stop scratching, and now you're poking at him and making him bark. It's smaller than this camper we're sitting in, so, but it's just him and his wife, and they live off-grid. They got chickens, they got a solar system for electricity, they got a wood stove for heat, they have chickens, they can their chicken, they have a good-sized garden, and they grow enough vegetables for the two of them for the year.
That's so amazing.
They grow their chicken food for their chickens. They actually grow sunflowers, and then she like sprouts the sunflowers, so if you got like 20 pounds of sunflower seeds, she'll actually put them in water, wet them, and let them sit for like a couple of days, and then they'll sprout, and actually doubles the weight, I guess, doubles the amount of food, and they feed that to their chickens for protein, and then of course the chicken's free range, and they get the rest of their food from just kind of foraging and bugs and that sort of thing. So anyway, long story short, really cool channel. We've been following, and like Stacey, you were saying today, I would love to be able to do, I kind of want to do what he's doing.
Yeah, it would be great to not have to rely on like a grocery store or...
Yeah, because the cool thing, you know, he says a lot in his videos is, you know, they don't rely on money. They spend money, and they do, like you said today, it's like, you know, we'll go out and buy ice cream or, you know, whatever, fun little things or whatever, but they don't have to, and they don't really spend a lot of money. I think he said his taxes were like $50 a year, and that's pretty much it. They fuel for their truck,
Right.
but they don't have to spend any money. So they raise and grow and can all their own food. They have their own heat. They have their own well, and the well pump runs off of his solar powered system. So they don't pay for an electric bill. They don't pay a water bill. And then of course he said, you know, he says he's got his cell phone and his internet, but that's pretty much it. Let's see, I'm going to go back in the chat here. Jeffrey said, no need to furnish the boys' apartment. Ryan can build his own. Can't wait to see what he builds for himself. Yeah, I think that's a cool idea. I bet he will probably build his own furniture. And let's see. Since my current log splitter, Jeffrey says, my current log splitter isn't highway towable, how about I bring my saws instead and cut away for a day? I work cheap, food and water. Time this year, Eric can travel to the Paul Bunyan show and stop by you on the way to the show or on the way back. Where's the Paul Bunyan show at?
It was like 6 hours from here. I think it's in...
Is that recently?
No, Nathan's going to it. It's this weekend.
Is it this weekend?
Yeah,
I thought it was this past weekend.
maybe it's in, I think, Ohio or somewhere.
Yeah, I know Nathan went to...
Actually, that would be too far.
Yeah, I know Nathan went to it. I thought it was, like, north of here, but I don't know. Cambridge, Ohio was this past weekend. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, so Ohio's actually northwest of here.
Yeah, I looked it up and it was going to be like 6 hours.
It's like just north of Kentucky, isn't it? I think. Ohio, anyway, so yeah, that would be cool. I'd like to go to that maybe. Probably meet you there.
Fun.
So yeah, so we're cutting and splitting firewood. We will definitely have plenty for this winter. I know you're supposed to let it dry and all that. Of course, we've been doing firewood for years. In New Hampshire, we burnt anywhere from 6 to 8, 10 cord, depending on how cold the winter was. But this year, we figure we're probably going to burn half of that because it's still, like today, it was 70-something degrees out and warm and comfortable and shorts and a t-shirt, where if we were in New Hampshire by now, we'd probably be wearing pants and possibly even a sweatshirt, at least pretty much every day in the morning. We'd probably be running the wood stove just at night at this point, especially when you're getting close to November. So it's going to be a lot more mild down here.
Some of the wood was rotten and stuff, so some of it's dry.
Yeah, a lot of the wood that we're cutting and splitting right now is dead, so it's pretty much already ready to burn and dry. It's light when you pick it up, so we'll have plenty of wood. And we have plenty of standing dead stuff. We got plenty of dead trees laying on the ground. We got a big pile of logs that have been dead for a while, so we have plenty of wood for this winter.
Been getting wood from customers, and then bonus, he had to take a couple trees down where the mobile home is and get some nice logs there.
Yeah, so there was a tree actually hooked, so where the mobile home is, a cluster of like maple trees kind of all growing off in different directions, and one of them grew up right alongside of the wall, and it was the biggest part of the tree. And then kind of up and over, so there's the roof, and it grew up and over and leaned like this, but it also, like as you know how trees can grow around things, it kind of had grown like that. So like there's the lip of the roof, and it kind of grown around it, so you get the log like this, and the log kind of was like, the tree was still facing wrapped around the edge of so it's kind of grabbing the house a little bit. we got it and pulled it with the truck and kind of pulled it back and
Right.
forth, so it made it nice and loose. And then I notched the tree, had Ryan pull on it with the truck, and could see that I was free of the house. And then I finished cutting the back of it. He pulled it away from the house, and we got that tree down nice and easy. So we got plenty of. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Stacey.
No. What? I was telling Ryan something. Keep talking about the wood being on the house.
You tell me.
But you just told him all. I was asking him how you share the video, so we can share it.
What do you mean, how do you share it?
Like on Facebook.
But you're watching the video? You're gonna do some IT tech stuff here.
I
Look,
have nothing about.
see that arrow?
Yeah.
You click on that, and then it'll pick where you want to share it to.
You sweet.
I don't want to do it.
Yeah, I know nothing about technology. Thank God. I have teenagers and my husband.
I don't know anything either. There you go, see? Anyway, you want to talk to him over there, okay? Yeah, so we'll have plenty of firewood for this winter. And yeah, so going back, I'll do a little video on the excavator showing kind of what was damaged. Luckily it wasn't too bad. I think overall in the end it'll, between the tow recovery truck and the damages, it's a little over $1,000, which it's not good. Certainly not expected, unfortunately, on expense, which is kind of a scary thing to have to deal with right now, but it is what it is and could have been a lot worse. It was a rough, stressful weekend, so I apologize we didn't make it on the live stream Saturday. I was actually already asleep by then. Just it had been a long, tiring, exhausting day, and I've been sore since that day. And had a job I had to work on this past weekend too, so I was trying to get as much as I can done on that as well. So we got to start on that job anyway. Hopefully we'll mostly get that pushed up. Well, I get probably the next 4 days straight I'll be working on that job. Let's see, the mobile home, we went over there today. We cut those trees off of the house. We started doing that last week, but we finished cutting them off this week, yesterday. And then,
yeah,
you were going to say?
we thought the mobile home was going to get picked up last Saturday, that's why.
Yeah, so we've been trying to get stuff done over there, just what the other guy was going to do, and then he kind of blew us off and never showed up, and told us about 5 or 6 times, I'll be there tomorrow, I'll be there tomorrow. And then one day he says, I'll be there tomorrow, and I said, well, I have to work, but he kind of wanted me to go there, and as he was hooking up the home to bring it over to our property, give him a deposit, which it was fine, and if he already got it all set up, hooked up with his axles on it, was ready to bring it over, I don't have a problem, figured, he's going to finish it at that point. Early, it was like an hour from there, so I lost money working on that job, because I had a machine that I had rented. It was the same day that the excavator tipped over, so it was an awful day. So this guy just continually, finally I just got sick of dealing with that for 2 weeks straight of that, and I hired somebody else. And like I said, I got the referral from the Green Acre Homestead, and this company, we met with them. The day we called them, they went over to the mobile home where it's located and looked at it, took pictures of it, sent it to me and said, we're here looking at it now. And that was like within a couple of hours of like the first call to them, and they were on it. And that was already more than the other guy had done in over 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So.
And they actually legit have a contract and everything, so.
Yeah, the other guy, we had no contract, nothing. It was just, so we went and went down to the county and had to edit our permit to take the other guy off and put these people on, because you have to be licensed and insured to do all this, as you can imagine. So the permit was transferred to them, so now they're going to be the ones doing all the work. And of course, like I said, the video online that shows everything they do and all the equipment they have is way more than this other guy has. I'm kind of wondering if this other guy was even going to be equipped to do what was needed to be done. I almost wonder if he showed up and looked at the mobile home on the other end and said, I have no idea how I'm going to get this out of here. Because the amount of equipment that they're going to use to get it out of there, if you look at that video that the Green Acre Homestead put out, they're going to be using most of that equipment they used on that video, they're going to be using moving our home out of where it is currently, from what they told me. So that's going to be fun to watch. Definitely going to record that. Hoping to pull the drone out before that happens and get some drone footage and some camera footage. Try to get 2 or 3 of us recording some video clips on it, so we'll get plenty of B-roll and drone footage and stuff. And I think it's going to be pretty wild to watch. Jeffrey said, well, a few years ago, my minivan slid down hill and parked itself on top of a log. Had to call a 4x4 wrecker to get it up the icy slope, lift the van up so I could get the log out. Wish I had a video of it. I was thinking that too. I kind of wish I had I wouldn't have had a video of it tipping because, I mean, I wasn't really doing anything exciting, so I wasn't really going to record just moving a few pieces of metal around. But we could have recorded tipping it back over, which I think my friend who was there may have done, but I was just kind of not in mentally a place that I was thinking about trying to record my expensive excavator being flipped over and hoping that it wasn't like completely destroyed. So it kind of wasn't really in the mindset of thinking of that. As the saying goes, a good contractor isn't cheap, and a cheap contractor isn't good. And that's true. They also turned out to be probably at least 50% more expensive, and they're not going to do as much as the other guy claimed he was going to do. And of course, he didn't end up doing it. So really, you get what you pay for. And these guys are insured. We've seen their crew. We've seen all their equipment. They came to our property right after they looked at the mobile home. They came to the property here, looked at the property right after that. So we met them the same day we called them. The next day we were at their office filling out a very detailed contract with every single thing they are going to do, which will all be part of the deal, what's not part of the deal, what's our responsibility, what's their responsibility. It was all clearly outlined. So there'll be no questions for them, no questions for us. We'll know what's expected from both of us. They'll go out and kind of scout it out 3 or 4 days ahead of time, and then if there's anything left that needs to be done, they'll let us know and give us a punch list of things that we got to finish doing. I think we're going to be in good shape for the most part. I don't think there's really going to be much, if anything, that we're going to have to do. But really good company, really good people. So I'm pretty excited and feeling real confident that it's going to get moved.
It's a family business. That all their kids are in the business.
Yeah, so the guy, lets his kids run the business. His daughter actually pretty much runs the show, and his sons move the houses, and send some of their nephews and nieces.
And then they're like husbands.
And then they have some couple other employees and stuff, but for the most part it's like mostly family. If you watch the video of them moving the house, it's like they almost don't even talk to each other. They just kind of do it, and they all know what needs to be done. So it's pretty impressive. So anyway, long story short, we feel pretty confident. They told us 2 or 3 weeks, which means by November 1st, the first week in November, showing you a house being moved here, where it's sitting, and all that good stuff. See, Jeffrey said, Dylan, Sons and Daughter Wood Shop has a nice ring to it. Yeah, I don't know when we'll have a wood shop again. Someday.
Yeah.
I think most of the work we're going to be doing now is going to be building outbuildings and taking care of animals and clearing our property. And Ryan's going to build a bunch of outdoor furniture and stuff. We're going to build wood sheds and do firewood. And definitely going to be running the sawmill a lot in order to build stuff. We're going to be cutting trees down and clearing. And
the chicken coop you need to finish?
Yeah, I got to finish up this chicken coop I've been working on. I wanted to record that, but it's just been crazy, so I didn't get a chance to record it. But maybe I'll do a little video going over it as part of another video or something. But there'll be plenty of other stuff that we're going to build. The big thing is getting this house here. I think once we get the house here and we can start working on it, we'll start doing videos on all the stuff we're doing with that, and then everything else we're working on around that. So Wahawk says, so it's like your house. Emma runs the show. We were actually saying that to them. That's kind of funny. And then Wahawk says, Stacey's chair.
Well, here's a funny story about my chair. My son actually made the chair.
Yeah, so Ryan showed me up. After all these years I was supposed to make Stacey's Adirondack chair, he made it. So, but he did a really good job.
He did an amazing job.
Yeah, I just kind of had a feeling it was just going to take a lot of work and effort, and I hadn't built one before, and so I was always kind of, I don't know. But he went online, found plans for it, and milled up some of the wood. Me and him milled some wood, and he just put it together, and it looks awesome. So, so once the house is here, the plan is to. There's a lot of things that we want to do to it. I did a little video of the inside and outside of it today and where we're at and what we've done, so I'm going to edit that this week. I have a couple other videos I did that I got to edit and get out over the next week or so. But there's all sorts of stuff that we're going to have to do. I'll probably start off at getting the wood stove installed as soon as possible. But I want to tear all the carpeting out, fix the subfloor of the walls, probably replace at least two of the windows right off. We're going to have to build a porch on the front, the back, do all the underpinning, the skirting that goes around it, tear out the entire underbelly and completely re-insulate and replace all of that. Hook up the plumbing, so the septic and the water line, and that's going to be like the main things. Gonna have to assess the hot water heater to see if it works or not. I don't know if it does. The heating system that's in there is electric, and half the heating system's missing. So we're gonna heat with wood initially, and but we'll figure some other, probably a backup heating system also potentially. But we're gonna probably try to shoot for going off grid on that house for now. The cost of the electric, to get the electric run to the house and hooked up and signed off on and everything, is going to cost almost as much as the house. So it's just because of the cost of the supplies went up so much. The wire and the conduit and everything is so crazy that it's just, I don't know. We could put the same money into putting a just kind of a small solar electric system on there that would give us plenty of power to heat. We don't even need to heat, but to power a computer, our phones, lights, all the things that we power in the camper pretty much.
I mean, we have electric in the barn, so.
Yeah, so the metal building, the barn, we have full electricity in there. So we'll just leave the big fridge and the freezer in there.
We'll eventually have to get a washer and dryer.
Washer, dryer.
Right now we have, what's it called?
Oh yeah, so we have like a 1940s Speed Queen Ringer washing machine. So it has like the electric wringer. And
it's awesome.
It's pretty cool. What is it, like 80-something-year-old washing machine?
And then we just hang the clothes out to dry, but we're not going to be able to do that much longer.
Yeah, so coming into the colder, wetter season, drying clothes out on the clothes rack isn't going to really be an option. So washer and dryer will be really nice. We'll put that in the barn in an insulated room. Probably we're going to be building a pretty good sized bathroom in there. Probably a 12 by 8 or something like that. 12 by 10 bathroom, which will have a sink, a shower, toilet, washer, and a dryer. And then like to put a dishwasher in somewhere. Probably down in the house. We could probably get enough solar power to run a dishwasher as needed when we need to. Worst case, if we have to run a generator or run things like that here and there, it's not going to be a big deal. What was I going to say? So all the things that are going to run off electric down at the house are going to be like TV, cell phones.
I don't watch that much TV.
We don't watch a lot. Just mostly our cell phones we watch videos on. Lights. What else is there? A hot water heater. Right now, the hot water heater that's in there is electric. If we put another one in of our own. Yeah, well, for cooking, I would prefer propane anyway, so good chance we'll probably just swap out that electric one for a propane hot water heater. Then we don't have to worry about that. Ultimately, if we wanted to, we could put a regular washing machine up in the barn and put a propane dryer
Yeah.
in the house. So wouldn't really need to rely on electricity for that. So we can pretty well get by with I think a solar power system down there, and just start off with something small that we could add on to as time goes on.
Right.
And it wouldn't be bad to have a plan as having a secondary source for electricity. It's just kind of funny the way they do things here, though. Like, they won't give you the final sticker on the mobile home and certificate or whatever it is they give you, at least from what the mobile home movers told us, unless you have electricity. So, but I don't think the county requires that. I think it's just like the state mobile home certifying whatever entity it is, that the mobile home movers have to go through. So I don't think it's really that big a deal. I mean, can't they can't require that you have to have electricity. That'd just be a little silly. Let's see. Let's go back here. Oh yeah. So like I told Mike, in the words of Dan Connor, doesn't matter. Yeah. As far as the chair goes.
Right.
Doesn't matter. Even if Ryan made it, doesn't matter.
Right.
Like Johnny Cash sang, Jeffrey said, like Johnny Cash sang, one piece at a time. It didn't cost me a dime when he built his infamous car in the song. Yep. And we're not going to owe anything on any of this, so that's kind of the big thing is we want to be debt-free and we want to be self-sufficient and
As much as we
like
can.
the channel is, we want to be practically independent.
We can put the mobile home. It can be any way we want.
Yeah, so we don't need. So now that there'll be a mobile home here, they don't do any building inspection of the mobile home because it was manufactured, already certified, and whatever. The home comes out here. I asked the county when you come out, what sort of things do we need to do with the home? What do you got to check on the inside that we're going to have to, take care of, and this and that. And they said we don't even go in it. Same thing with the state mobile home inspection thing. They actually don't even really care if the electricity's on as long as there's wire run to it. So I may just run a wire to it. I don't know. It's not going to really matter. So they don't really care as far as the mobile home goes. When you built a new house, they want everything being inspected. But so yeah, but we're still going to work through some things could change over the next few weeks. We may have electric run to the house anyway, just so we can get that certificate and not have to deal with anything later. I don't think it would really matter, but we'll probably make some calls and see what is really going to be required and tell them, we plan on putting a solar system on the house, so why do we really need to pay, over $5,000 to have electric run 200 feet from the meter to the house, because we're not even going to use it. So anyway, yeah, it's like I said, the floors where it's rotted, the walls, the windows, and then the heat. Hook up the septic, the water, and we'll probably live in it over time as we're building it. We'll have one bedroom ready, we'll move into that. Have another bedroom ready, we'll move into that. Probably going to use some of the space in there for storage so we can get some stuff out of the barn, because it'd be nice to be able to free up a lot of space in there so I can finally get some of my tools organized, so when I go to do stuff, I don't have to go out and buy something like a freaking chainsaw file when I know I got like 20 of them somewhere. And it's really frustrating and annoying having to I go down to Harbor Freight to buy cheap tools because I can't find a tool. So hopefully we can get some stuff out of the barn. Been working on the mezzanine in the barn. I got some pictures of that I shared on Facebook, but I'll do a video on the next section that we build, and actually do a video on the next step on that particular section. So we're doing a 12 by 12 foot section at a time. The barn's 40 feet long. We're going to do 3 12-foot sections and then the last 4-foot section. And it's going to all be standing on 6 by 6 pressure treated posts that we're going to tie to the walls, to we're going to tie it to the framing of the metal building. So the metal building won't be supporting it. But it'll just be keeping everything kind of held in place, and we're going to also anchor it to the concrete on the floor. And then we have to build the sawmill shed, which like I already have plans for, and I already have the materials that I bought for it. Just got to build some of the lumber for it. Finish the chicken coop that we started. Get the mobile home here, like I just said.
Oh yeah, we gotta get our chickens to like come outside.
Work on fixing the excavator. A couple other things around here that we have to repair and do some maintenance on. I got at least like 2 jobs I got to do, some work out like on site that I got to do, and then of course building that chicken coop. And I know there's going to be more work that's going to come up between now and when I finish all of that. So my job will never be done, but so I like doing it for the most part. There's a lot of things I don't like to do, and I'll be happy when it's done. But let's see. Wahawk says, I bought the Harbor Freight. I'm going to get caught up here. Bought the Harbor Freight system. Can charge devices so far. So is that system something that you can add on to, or are you going to have to like upgrade the charge controller and battery system and all that? I've been doing a little bit of research on kind of solar systems. You can buy kits. There's a kit that would cost about the same as it would cost us to have electricity run to the house. That would probably be enough for us to do most of what we got to do. I think it's like a 3 to 5,000 watt system, which would be funny because this camper is 50 amp and it runs everything we need it to. So really 5,000 watt would be like having a 15 amp service, and we don't use all of it. We don't use all 50 amps because we never tripped anything in here.
I think once we did, but it was...
What?
We tripped that outlet over there.
The GFCI.
Yeah.
That's because there was a ground fault somebody did. We didn't overload it like amps.
Oh, okay.
That's a whole different thing. Jeffrey says, Mike, if you want an inverter charger, I think 3,000 watt continuous with 9,000 watt surge that I'm not using requires a 24 volt battery pack. Any 120 volt input as well. Oh, so that's another thing. That reminds me. So since we have electricity up at the barn, worst case scenario, if I have some batteries that are portable that I need to just charge during the day or whatever, we're not getting a lot of sun, I can bring those batteries up to the barn and just hook them up to a charger and charge them right off the electric, and then bring them back down to the house if we need it for whatever. But
the barn and the mobile home aren't, what, 50 feet?
Oh no, it's like 200 feet, but still, it's not.
They're not far.
Just put them in the back of few batteries back of your car, drive them up to the barn and plug them in. And the winter would be the only thing I could think of when it wouldn't charge enough because of the lack of sunlight. But in the winter, we're not using a lot of electricity because we're not going to be using an air conditioner. And then we could find other ways to stay cool. We could just worry about running the air conditioners at night, running fans in the windows during the day. But we'll work through it, figure it out. If we want to run air conditioners, we'll just get some more batteries and make sure that the batteries are nice and charged so we can use it. We got a generator, so if we ever feel like we need to. But I think it's going to be one of those kind of in progress, kind of constantly in progress. And as we learn, we'll be adding on to it and changing it and doing whatever. So it's going to all be new to us, and I think every case and everybody's situation is going to be different. Firewood Doctor says, inverter charger means it's an inverter from the batteries, and with 120 volt input power, it also recharges the batteries. Right, yeah, so you could charge it off of a generator or bringing it somewhere and plugging it in. Plus, while recharging, it had as a bypass to send any extra current to the breaker box. My inverter charger has only 120 volt output, which, yeah, I mean, we could use some 12 volt direct to charge things like phones and whatever, mobile things and stuff like that. We also have these, like, which I'm running my phone off right now while we're on this live stream. These little power banks. I have a few of them. So if we ever just want to charge our mobile devices at night and not use the system on the house, I'll just make sure those are charged up in the barn and bring them down at night to keep my phone working through the night. So I really don't think it's going to be a problem not having electricity for the house. Let's see, my inverter charger. Wallhawk says the charge controller fried on it. I bought a cheap replacement. Found 2 big solar panels scrapping, so I'm going to hook them up also. The solar kit at this point is basically a trickle charger. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's kind of my thought, is like just start small and build up from it, but try to make sure I get the right components at the beginning to give me something that we can build on, that's scalable, right, that we can build on. Firewood Doctor says, wiring up solar panels in series to boost the line voltage effectively gives you more power and charging time during low sunlight conditions. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of research to do on solar. Plenty of information out there on YouTube University, right?
Right. YouTube University.
Yeah. University. So what are your thoughts on all this? What are all the things you're excited about, thinking about? I'm always yakking, so you have to talk.
I got nothing.
You got nothing?
Got nothing.
Log splitter today?
That was fun.
What'd you think of the house?
Need some work, but it'll get there. Eventually I'll get a nice coffee porch on it.
Yep.
2 years.
Well, so for the final inspection for the permit we're getting from the county, you have to have a porch and the underpinning, like the skirting on it. So the porch on the front and back and all the skirting, that's going to be done
pretty quickly.
Pretty quick anyway. That's, the house will be delivered somewhere last week October, first week of November. I mean, I'd have to say by then we're going to have a porch and stairs on at least the front and the skirting done. And we have, I think they kind of push you to get everything done within 90 days. So I mean, you've got what, November, December, January. We got until probably February to get everything done,
right, within
the timeline they would like you to get it done.
They said it didn't have to be done in that timeline.
Yeah, I don't think it's like a strict thing. I think it's just something they put on the paper to say we kind of like you to get it done, because then they kind of certify you to move into it. Although we're gonna move a bunch of our stuff into it as I'm working on remodeling it anyway, and we're far off out in the woods. They're not gonna come by knocking at 9 o'clock at night to see you guys in bed in your camper, you in your mobile home. We're a quarter mile from the road, and we're actually so another project I'll be doing is installing a large, heavy-duty gate with large wooden posts in the ground, barbed wire, cameras, and probably a driveway.
Barbed wire?
Yeah, just like absolutely every other property around here is surrounded by, including ours on both left and right. Anyway, so the fence in the front, because we're going to also put animals up in the front.
True.
So we're going to need that up there, but eventually we'll have electrified barbed wire. Initially I'm just going to do, on the very front, I'm going to do a big hard solid wood fence and a gate, and then I already got the equipment for a driveway alarm that I bought for when we were in New Hampshire that I never actually hooked up, so I'm going to get that hooked up, so this way if anybody comes up in through there, we're going to know it.
Does that come through your phone, or did it just go
It
off?
just beeps, so there's like a receiver on the other end. Remember the door alarm that we had in our store? Where when you were on one side of the building, if somebody opened the door, it would go ding, ding. Same idea. When that disconnect happens, it sends an alarm off. And so, basically, I'd just like to know when somebody's trying to enter our property, But it'll be a gate that will keep shut and locked. People will be able to pull in and park in front, but they won't be able to come in when we don't want them to. So, which will be pretty much shut whenever we're not going in and out.
The dogs let us know. Really?
Yeah, there's other people I know in this area that have a gate that people can't open or close unless somebody lets them. So we're basically essentially going to do the same thing because nobody needs to be coming down here unless we know they're coming down here. And I think for the most part, if people come down our driveway and they get 500-600 feet down and they see people living this far off out in this area, they're probably not going to want to come poking around because now they're so far off the road that nobody can see what's happening down here. I would be leery of that. I wouldn't want to drive onto a piece of property that I got so far out into the woods and kind of came up on somebody on their own property. When nobody knows I'm there, they're going to know that nobody knows I'm there, and you know, you don't want to sneak up on people in the woods. Let's just put it that way. And I think most of the people get that and aren't going to just come down here unless they're sure. Either way, gate up at the front. Nobody's going to be able to come in and give us any trouble, anything like that. So we don't. And around here, we don't have to deal with that. It's not, everything's pretty lax. There's people that I've met in this area that have been living in. We met that one guy who's been living in his camper since, he said, 1986. And it's a tiny camper, like smaller than the camper the boys live in.
The grandpa did?
Yep. So, yeah. Let me go back to the check because I'm gonna get behind again. Let's see. Jeffrey said, check out Arizona Hot Homestead. That sounds like a hot homestead. I wouldn't want to live in Arizona. So it's at Arizona Hot Homestead. I'll check it out. They ran off solar and batteries. Not sure what he's been up to. Haven't watched his channel in a while, but he was totally off grid last I knew. I'd imagine you could be off grid out there pretty easy. They get plenty of sun and not like you're going to need, well, air conditioning is going to be brutal. But, I mean, I guess if you live out there, you're used to the heat. Tripwires and claymore mines to stop trespassers as an option. Well, I do have some tripwire traps that do set off an explosion. That will be strategically placed and is legal, especially when your property's posted like ours that's no trespassing and everything's gated and fenced. If people are on your property, at that point you're not liable. It's, you know, it's the law here. If somebody's coming onto our property unannounced and they get hurt, and we have signs up saying we're not responsible if something happens, and it's clearly marked within a certain amount of feet and which is what I'm doing. So
We don't have a problem with this. We're just down the road.
yeah, we haven't had any problems. The only things that we've had on our property that potentially could be a problem are like coyote. We've had some rats, but the cats are getting pretty good at picking them off. Even killed a squirrel and pretty much took the squirrel apart a couple days ago.
We have one cat.
We found squirrel parts in the barn.
We have 3 cats, and one of them is just like a champ at this whole mousing thing.
Yeah, he's like, I see your challenge, I got this. So yeah, we picked up, like we talked about in one of the videos, or I think I posted on Facebook or something. So we have barn cats, and oh man. Yeah, they're good. They're really good. We found a squirrel tail, and then like 5-10 feet from there was one of its feet, and then another few feet from there was another foot.
Where he's finding dead
I was
mice.
like, what the?
They think they're toys.
Yeah, they just kill something and then they just play with it for a while, even after it's dead.
They're not.
Yeah, they like to wrestle with it.
I think they're like 6 months old. The 2 little ones.
Yeah, they're like this month. They're about 6 months. They were born in April. So, Wallhawk says, you're in Tennessee, you only need soup cans and string. Punji pits.
What did they say about rabies?
No, it's rabbits. If you want to read, you can.
No.
Jeffrey says, now all you need is a sign that says, we don't call 911. And I actually do have signs like that are definitely going up. But basically, I have kind of disclaimer signs, basically, warning signs that are basically going to just basically say if you don't want to get hurt, don't come onto this property. I'm not saying why. Just, you know, if you come onto my property, I don't want you to trip over something and get hurt. You know, I don't want anything to happen to you, so don't come on here unless I know you're here. This way I can make sure you're not going anywhere or doing anything that could potentially harm you. And when you put those signs up saying, you know, a disclaimer of like, you don't come on here, you're not welcome, you're not allowed here unless you've been invited. If something happens to somebody at that point and you have those signs up and you prove you put them up, it's on them. At that point, it removes you from being liable. And then if they do enter your property and they become a threat, it's a stand your ground state. So, you know, if they become a threat, I don't have to run away. And I'll, you know, by our decorations, they'll know that we're not going to run away. So there's that. And it's a pretty free and relaxing area where most people kind of keep to themselves and mind their own business. And so we really won't have any problems. And it's funny because we know people that we've seen try to call about noise and about people, you know, doing this or that they're not supposed to or whatever, unless it's really bothering, like unless it's really infringing on somebody's rights or it's causing harm to someone or their things on their own property. The typical response from what we've noticed from law enforcement is,
oh well.
Are they harming you in any way? No. Are they on your property? They're not killing anyone. They're not doing anything illegal, like as far as we're concerned, or at least nothing serious. Yeah, you're on your own. Like, really, just ignore it. You know, it's one of those things. If you don't want trouble, don't go looking for it. Leave other people alone. They'll leave you alone, and you're all good. Basically, the law enforcement just almost kind of like says, if you don't like it, too bad. That's what we're here for. Our freedom. Firewood Doctor says, my dad's cat can catch rabbits. Has been seen with small rabbits in her mouth. I wouldn't mind them catching rabbits if like they didn't like dismember them and chew them up and play with them. And then you can actually like process them or whatever if like they hunted them and stuff. But man, they just destroy stuff. They caught a rat and they just kept attacking it. And I didn't see it, but Ryan and Emma saw it and they were just playing with it. And it was pretty beat up and it was in bad shape from the sounds of it, but it wasn't dead, and they kept playing with it and beating it, but it wasn't dying. And so Ryan kind of went out there and grabbed a shovel and pretty much put it out of its misery. So the cat probably continued. Oh no, I think he scooped it up and threw it somewhere. Or the cat,
they would have gone and found it.
The cat kept playing with it. I don't know. Robert Bannon, how are you? How you doing? He says, flipped my backhoe over about a month ago. Good times, good times. So no. Yeah, it's, I don't know, were you wearing your seatbelt when it happened to you? I should say I was, but I wasn't. To be honest, I definitely wasn't, unfortunately. If I had been wearing my seatbelt, I would not have been banged around in the cab as much, because when I did tip, you know, here it's standing upright and I'm on a hill kind of going down, and when it tipped and it went down, it didn't just land flat, it landed like that, and then I got slammed to the top of the cab and my whole head like jarred my whole body, and so I can still feel it down my neck and halfway into my back. So whenever I turn my head, it's like when you get whiplash, it's like it hurts to turn your neck, but it's already gotten better. It's over time. And it's funny because maybe not funny, but not long ago I fell off the sawmill trying to roll a log, landed on my back, and I was in that same situation. The next day I woke up and my neck was all like tight and I couldn't turn my head. And I was finally just getting over that, and then I took my excavator. But if it's not one thing, it's another. And back in March I broke my leg. I just Yeah. Work hard, play hard.
Right.
Robert says no, doesn't have a cab. Hopped off the high side just in time. My 50-year-old body hasn't moved that quick in years. Yes, my body was feeling it the next day as well. Yeah. Well, that's good that you were able to hop off of it and nothing serious happened, because that situation, especially, I would imagine without the cab, being like an enclosed thing that kind of protects you from the machine landing on you, I can imagine, especially not wearing a seatbelt, if you kind of fell off the machine and the machine landed on you, it's not a good time. So that's good. I'm glad you were able to get off of that in time. And yeah, everything just seems to hurt now. It's like you're a kid, you can jump and bounce off the ground and you get up and you next day it's not too bad, you feel bruised, but now it's like, man, you wake up and it's just like, I don't think I can work for like a day or two now. This hurts. Jeff says it's hard to read the text on this one.
My phone's all cracked, so.
My chunky cat, aka extra chubby. No rodent or chipmunk is safe if she sees it. She doesn't move fast, but when she sees a mouse, she's a feline Usain Bolt. It was like a speed runner. Wallhawk says, Stacey, Mike wants a neck rub. She's like, yeah, that's nice. Jeffrey says, Mike, Stacey needs a neck rub. Wallhawk is wrong. Yeah, so pretty much where we're at. We're here, Stacey and I and Emma are in the fifth wheel. The boys are still in the smaller camper. The barn's coming along. We got the second floor that we're building in there. It's basically, the barn is going to be basically a barn dominium. We got all the electricity and everything hooked up, all inspected, and everything all up to snuff, up to code, and ready to go. And so we're good shape in there. So we're gonna build Ryan a room in there. It's got a whole bathroom. It'll have heat and everything in there, so he'll be in good shape to have his place. And then the mobile home it's only a 2-bedroom, so we'll be, more than likely than not, we'll be adding a bedroom to that. So Emma and Kyle can each have their own room in that house, and then we'll have our own room.
Make a room out of that living room. It's kind of big.
Well, I had suggested that, I think, to Kyle, but he was like, no, I'll just stay in the camper and wait until the room is completely built, which is fine, whatever. We'll get there. If you get sick of waiting, you can use the living room, because, I mean, this living room that we're in is, I mean, there's going to be way more room than that. So either way, from what we've been living in, if we have to turn half that living room into a bedroom and put up some walls or whatever, not worried about it. I mean, we could build a living room area in the barn that we could all hang out in, or a separate, like, outdoor pavilion area we could sit out and hang out in.
Right.
A little cabin area that we could just put another wood stove in and just sit and chill out in.
Got some,
When we're all hanging out together, it's not like it's hard to walk to the house after and go to bed.
No.
Nothing says you're required to have a living room in your house.
Absolutely.
If only, Jeffrey says, if only Wisconsin had the same housing regulations like you have. It'd be nice to have a tiny house, but it needs to be on frost-proof foundation if it's not a mobile home. So yeah, not only being in Tennessee is it a little bit more relaxed, but we're on A1 agricultural zoned property. We're outside of city limits, so we only have to deal with any sort of county regulations and rules they have. And county agricultural zoning is very, very lax. You could build pretty much just about anything on A1 agricultural property. And all within the zoning, within the text of the zoning is you can have a wood shop, a sawmill, a farm store, You can have auto mechanics business. Like there's reason we're here. It's
Right.
basically anything we want to do here isn't going to be an issue. So that's the reason we're here, of course. Let's see. Stacey says Mike can put want in one hand and crap in the other and see which fills faster. Oh God. Outside with Shive. Hey, how's it going, buddy? Hey, we just got our new log splitter. We actually used to have, you probably remember, but we used to have the same one that you did, the 737. And then, of course, moving from New Hampshire to Tennessee, we pretty much sold just about everything we had up there, including that log splitter, my skid steer, sawmill. I eventually sold the dump trailer, a bunch of stuff. So we pretty much restarted over here. So now we got, we bought the Rugged Made 728, so it's a smaller. I think the only thing really for the most part is maybe the piston and the hydraulic pump would be my guess. Is that the only thing that's different? The whole frame, like everything's pretty much the same. The motor, the reservoir that holds the hydraulic fluid, the everything. It's just I'm suspecting it's just the hydraulic pump that's smaller for the most part. But I was talking to Stacey. I was asking her, what did you think the one we have compared to
They
the
were
37?
definitely very similar. I haven't used that other one that we had in New Hampshire. I mean, it's been a year since I've used the log splitter now.
Yeah. So to me, it seems like it's funny. It seems like the speed is a little bit faster. They did say that since we ordered our other one, that they did upgrade the valve. So it seems like especially the return.
The return one's definitely faster.
Yeah, like you split, and then when going back, it seems to be like faster. I don't know if it's like something to do with the valve or I don't know. It's weird. Lifting the log up and down seems pretty quick, but I don't know. Like you said, we haven't used it in a year, so who knows? But basically, it doesn't really seem any slower or weaker. It split everything we put on it. So
We did like a half a cord with it today.
yeah. So and that was just
That was nothing
taking your
really.
time and chilling
Yeah.
and doing it. And,
I think it took
and we weren't even out there that long,
an hour. Yeah.
So, yeah, so the machine's been great compared to the 37, which I personally haven't really noticed any difference. I'm sure there's a big power difference if we were to put a big fresh cut piece of like hickory on there that had knots in it and stuff. I'm sure we would notice.
Like if I didn't see the knots, I took the
Oh, yeah.
sometimes
Which we used to do anyway.
there was one today where I didn't see the knot and it went perfectly fine.
Let's see. Let's go. Make sure I'm missing. Oh yeah, so anyways, yeah, I saw that Shive came on and I didn't even respond to his comment. Yeah, so, it says, hey Mike and Stacey, hope all is well after the rollover. Looks like you are well, maybe just hurt your pride a little. Yeah, it was it didn't bother me too much when it first flipped over. I mean, I got banged up a bit, and I was a little bit sore, but I just thought the machine tipped over and we need to get somebody out here to flip it back over and it would be fine because I had a skid steer tip on me once and I flipped it back over because I had a backhoe, so I used that to. Then it started back up and it smoked a little bit for the rest of the day, but it was fine after that. So I was just kind of expecting the same, but when it got it back upright again, I noticed the spot where it landed on was the whole engine bay side. So when it landed, it crushed the whole hood. I'll take pictures and do a video of all the damage that was done to it and what we're going to do to fix it. But the hood, it was the fuel filter assembly, the fuel water separator assembly, the air filter housing, there was part of the coolant system, the fan shrouds bent. It was half of it's cosmetic, half of it's just kind of like components of components that are attached to the engine that can be unbolted and replaced and put back on. And of course, because it's a Bobcat, it's not cheap, so all the parts are expensive. So we're trying to look at getting. We actually have a friend locally here who's friends with somebody who works for Bobcat. Odds are, if he's getting them from Bobcat, he's getting some OEM parts. So it should be put all back together pretty well, and a lot of new parts in the end. But when it got tipped back over is when I was really like bummed. Like I literally sat on the ground and looked at it and was like, that's like my entire life right there, because it's like we are more invested in that machine than anything else. So it kind of was like messed with my head for the day too. That didn't help. But as far as injuries go, I mean, my neck and back are sore, but ain't nothing. I've been just working through it. Firewood doctor says, let's see now. Tiny homes are glorified campers. Pretty much. I mean, they're obviously a lot more solid and a lot have wheels. Oh, so the tiny homes that have wheels that are built on.
Yeah.
I kind of agree with that. I mean, I've always thought, like, especially after getting this fifth wheel, I'm like, I mean, basically a tiny home. Like, what?
I don't mind the fifth wheel though. It's
The
nice.
tiny homes have a loft, but I mean sometimes they're
40-year-olds shouldn't live in lofts.
No. Especially somebody who's keep themselves up like I have. Maybe tiny homes are taller. They have probably some more efficient stuff in them. They're probably a little bit wider, but we get the slide outs, which makes this probably even wider in many spots. So I've kind of always thought that, like, I don't know, I can't justify, because people, build these tiny homes and the amount that they put into it, or buying one. It's just like, you can buy it. Yeah, like, I don't know, it seems crazy to me. And it's a lot of work, especially if you're going to build it yourself. And they're going to be heavier, I would think, because they're built with house materials.
Right.
A lot of times. So, let's see. Firewood doctor says, let's see. Where are we going? I'll race my new splitter against any rugged made. The winner gets a case of Miller Lite or iced tea if you don't drink.
The rugged made will. It's not rugged made though.
It's made pretty rugged. Well, I mean, you have to essentially make it, but yeah.
Right.
It only took us 2 days to build it. Ryan pretty much built just about most of it himself.
He's becoming a great adult.
Yeah, he's been a good young man here helping us out. It's having a third adult here now, you're starting to feel having some extra support, which is really nice. Shibe says, I think it's just the cylinder size, everything else is the same, I believe. Yeah, so that's kind of what I was thinking. It's like the power of that cylinder is not going to be as much as the 37 ton. So I'm sure if you put heavy, large blocks of hard wood on the 37 and the 48, you'd probably see the difference there. But I think for the most part, like the average stuff, you're not going to see too much of a big difference. And we don't have down here. We don't have anything like we had in New Hampshire. Some of those massive chunks of trees, and any of those we always got from other people, from other properties,
right.
And tree companies delivering them. We're not getting that here. Here we're.
That maple we got is pretty hard though.
Yeah, so I mean, but it's small. It's like 10, 12 inches diameter maybe. So pretty much any of the stuff we're cutting and splitting here is not huge. And it's either something I'm cutting from our property here that's dead or fallen, or stuff I need to cut out of my way. Which anything that's that big, I'm not going to cut down. I'm going to work around it. And if people are giving away stuff to go pick up, I'm not going to go pick up huge stuff like I used to. A lot of that stuff I would pick up because I was going to slab it or whatever. I'm just going to pick up stuff that we can handle easy enough with my tractor. So we're not going to be picking up any 30-inch diameter oak logs or any crazy things. So I think splitting is going to be a lot easier here. Remember some of the pieces that we were ice on it because it would be
And then it would fall off,
It
and
would-
then you'd need help to get it back on. And
split it and it would tip. Uh,
A lot of comments on there.
Robert Bannon, he says, do you heat your residence with wood? So we're currently living in a camper because we're in the process of getting a mobile home moved here. So here you can pretty much, as long as you like, and even if you don't tell them, it don't matter, but pretty much here you can live in your camper. The written rule, you're not supposed to live in your camper, which we're kind of sort of temporary. Temporary living in your camper is not a problem when you're communicating with the county and letting them know what you're doing, which we do. The county's actually been out here at least a few times in the state. Electrical inspector, the building inspector, they know.
Alright, we're back.
Oops, sorry, I don't know what happened there. Oh, Kyle's playing video games. It's all Kyle's fault. Basically around here, if anyone complains about anyone living in a camper, it don't matter. But anyway, so you asked, I'm going off on a tangent. You asked if we heat our house with wood. We are going to heat our house mobile home with wood. We're going to heat our barn and anything in there with wood. So any buildings that we have here are all going to be heated with wood for the most part. We might have supplemental stuff, like if we need it to be on for a longer period of time, or we're not there to, monitor it, then we'll be good. We might have like a backup propane or electric heater or something like that, but for the most part, the primary source of heat's going to be wood everywhere. Did you hear that?
Yeah. Is all the cats in?
Oh.
Stella was going. Creamsicle and Smoky are snuggled.
Jeffrey says, gotcha, watch your fingers on the return stroke, as mine is 6.5 second cycle time. We'll take them off. Yeah, so that's another thing. We don't really care about it going super fast, because the faster it is, I guess potentially the more dangerous it could be.
I've only had a couple injuries with the wad splitter.
Trying to be nice and not say anything. But
Couple.
I also fear I don't want it to go too quick, because if you're not looking for a quick second, she'll be coming at me like, I don't know what happened, but
I don't even think my big one, when I cut my finger, it was on. I don't even think it was on the rugged.
You cut your finger?
even still, it's just safer, I think, just being slower, but at the same time, we don't need to do a super fast production, so it's definitely fast enough. Take them off, not careful with the auto cycle. So, I was trying to understand the auto cycle. So is that like you push the thing forward and you don't have to hold it, and then it just goes forward and automatically comes back? I'm trying to understand that. Something on its own, like all automatic,
Yeah.
and you're standing near it, like you said, you got to be careful.
You just gotta pay attention.
You need to. Wallhawk says Miller Lite's girly beer. That's what my mom drank. Hey, I always liked Miller Lite. That's what my dad drank. Firewood Doctor says Wallhawk better watch your words. Shides a Miller Lite. Wallhawk says, so I'm a cripple. Hitting me is a hate crime. Plus I fight dirty. Jeffrey, you know nothing. Jeffrey says, you know nothing of fighting dirty until you meet my first ex. She was as nasty as they come with words. Wallhawk says, so is mom. Wait, Jeffrey, are you my dad? Oh, God. Wallhawk says, Shibe says, Wallhawk, there is no rules to fighting.
Right?
Hey, only in the ring. That's it. Firewood Doctor says, using steel 2x4s for framing is a lot lighter than wood 2x4s, making a tiny home on wheels a lot lighter and is just as strong. I don't know if they all use, I don't think they all use the steel 2x4s though. Robert Band says, nice that code enforcement doesn't really bother. Bought a Range Road 5032 sawmill with the trailer package. to cut 16 foot a few months back. Never used it yet though. I'd be curious to hear how that works because it looks pretty much the same as the Woodland Mill sawmills, and I was almost going to get one of them. The prices look very similar. I think just because I've had a Woodland Mill sawmill is what made me get the Woodland Mills anyway, but I was definitely looking at those. With them, it's best if you could find a range road dealer from the way I understand it, because you can get and go pick it up and it won't cost you anything. Woodland Mills can't go pick it up. You gotta pay the whatever. My dream is to be independent too. We're under contract to sell a house. It should be paid off. It should pay off our new residence. I feel like a burden has been lifted. It feels awesome. Like we have no mortgage payment. We got no rent. Like, I mean, yeah, we still have to have income or some, form of money so we can eat. And if we want public electricity, we could be able to pay that bill.
Right.
Water costs us like $30 a month, which, I mean, that ain't no big deal.
You have the cars and stuff, like insurance and stuff.
Insurance and fuel for the cars and whatnot, but we don't have a car payment. I mean,
Our property
we
taxes,
do, but it's like two car payments left or some crazy thing.
Our property taxes are ridiculously cheap here.
Yeah, our property taxes here are less than 10% of what they were in New Hampshire. Basically breaks down to less than $50 a month. So really, like, just to stay on our property without any utilities, anything, just to keep our property, if we could come up with $50 a month, we could keep everything we have here. Because we don't owe anything on anything we have here either, so it's not like anybody can come repo anything, and it's a really good feeling knowing that. So yeah, being debt-free is definitely awesome. I think that's the kind of the biggest independence part that feels good. And then it's just kind of, okay, now what else we can do to become more independent?
Right.
Robert says, how about those splitters that work both directions?
Oh gosh.
Yeah, I've seen them. Those look pretty cool. I can imagine them being dangerous. There's other ones too that, like, it has like a thing like this, and you put the wood under it. Oh, and it spins. It's got like, they go in a circle, and it's just like a couple choppers on a circle, like a big circular thing, and it spins, and it comes down and it goes, and there's nothing. You put your arm in there, and your arm's coming off.
Surprising.
And it comes through quick. There's no, like, that's the thing about the speed, is you don't have time to react. Like if you suddenly feel a pinch or you feel the thing touch your hand with the log splitter and it's not real fast, you typically have time enough to move your hand quick enough typically to not, like, cut your hand off. With some of these faster things, that's a little scary. Jeffrey said, I'll do a video to better explain auto cycle. He says hit both levers. Once it gets fully extended, it trips the auto return cycle.
I don't think that works on
What?
the rugged.
We don't have it. That's why.
Oh.
Oh,
You can't do both controllers at the same time.
No.
Yeah.
You probably could with a bigger motor and a bigger hydraulic pump. Or even at least the bigger hydraulic pump, but anyway. He says once it's fully extended, it trips the auto return. So it basically, once you get to the end, it just automatically brings itself back.
Oh, okay.
Which is kind of neat, because then you can go grab another piece of wood, but it's on the other side of the, in our case, it's on the other side of the cylinder anyways. You can pull it over, so really not like you can do anything else, so, like, and all you gotta do is just move the lever back and let go, and it automatically brings itself back anyway. So is it just eliminating that quick second of, like, pulling a lever back? Doesn't seem like.
I'll be right back.
I know you guys are saying it's a great feature. I'm just trying to figure out the big benefit of it. Because I did look them up and I saw one that you can buy and add on there, but I don't know. It almost doesn't really seem like it'd be worth it. But I would definitely be interested to see a video kind of explaining that. Robert Bannon says it is Chinese knockoff of a Chinese. I think, yeah. So it's basically, yeah. I mean, think the Woodland Mills. I think all their parts are Chinese. Just like this, I think the splitter I got, the rugged made, is pretty much probably all Chinese components. Robert Bannon, I think they're kinetic energy splitters. Oh, okay. So they're fast too, I bet. Jeffrey said those splitters are called bidirectional and no automatic movement. Hand comes off the lever and the wedge stops immediately. I kind of like that idea. Like if your hand comes off of it, that it doesn't just keep going. I don't know. Something about that feels a little bit better and safer. Mike, I used the auto cycle a lot on my first video with the 12-way wedge. Go check it out. I will definitely go check it out. I'm curious. You'll see how the auto cycle works. Shibe says it eliminates the holding the lever on the forward position, leveling both hands free to handle the splits. Oh, that makes sense. Yep, so you save a few seconds each time you split. That makes sense. I guess if we were splitting like a lot of production, like we were going to try to split, we're going to be splitting to sell 100 cord a year or some crazy thing. Most of the wood we're going to split here, I mean, more than half of the wood we split here is probably going to be for our own use. Especially for the first year or two, I imagine. But we'll probably sell, a truckload of firewood here and there just to cover food costs and things like that. It's just when we got extra piles of it. But I don't think we'll ever be in a big hurry. Robert Bannon says, y'all have a great night. Have to work early. Good night. Shive said later, Robert. So yeah, we've been on here, wow, hour and a half.
Yay!
Firewood Doctor says, auto cycle is more for production speed with one person. Need at least 3 people to max it out. Max out my splitter. Yeah, so that's the other thing too, is like, there's no rush to pull anything off our splitter. We're never going to, not likely we're going to have 3 people running the machine at once. We're not going to be, we're not going to be rushing and hurrying to try to load a truck full of wood. Like, I imagine us filling our wood sheds, and then if we got like, if we're looking at the wood shed saying, oh, we got enough, for all year with extra, let's go sell a cord of wood for a couple $100 just for some extra money. We'll go over to the wood shed and take a picture of it and say, cord of firewood, a couple $100, post it on Facebook. Somebody will say, eventually when they say they want it, we'll just pull it out of there, throw it in the truck, and go drop it off. I don't think we'll be like pre-selling and taking orders and trying to fill orders and things like that. I'm not even planning on doing that with the sawmill. Like, I really don't want to have to take orders and then mill. If I mill like a walnut log or something and I mill a bunch of like nice 1x6s or whatever, I'll just stack them, sticker them, strap it, put them in a wood shed, let them air dry, and then take pictures of them, throw them up online and post them up. And if somebody wants them, they can come by and grab it. I just hate the like stress, I guess, or the anxiety of like you got an order, get the order, now like you really can't do anything else until you get that done because you kind of told them you're going to get it done. I like just kind of getting things done in my pace and when I want to do them, and then I made whatever it is that I made, and then I can post it for sale and somebody can buy it whenever they want. At that point it's already ready. So it's kind of my mindset. I work better that way, especially now. Jeffrey says, round on the splitter, hit the auto cycle, it splits while grabbing the next round. It is almost stupid fast. That's crazy. Shibe says, bundles are your moneymaker. Do a roadside stand.
I don't know if we have enough traffic.
It's not a terrible idea. I mean, we could try it out.
Yeah.
at the end of our driveway. We could easily put that, and then as far as for security or whatever, I suppose we could put cameras up there and stuff. Not so much sure how we could bring it. Well, yeah, we'd have to figure out how to do that securely. In New Hampshire, I wouldn't have been as worried about it, but I think around here, I don't know, from what we've seen and heard, seems to be a little bit more of a theft thing going on
Right.
in this county. People seem to like to steal things, so I can totally just imagine, like,
They would steal the money from the
yeah, the money being gone, the whole freaking
standing.
stand being removed. No, I don't know. That's just we could try it. I mean, it wouldn't hurt. Fill
Just
the wood
don't-
stand, put some bundles of wood out there, have a
Like
slot.
$20 worth or something. Yeah.
Have a slot out there for people to put money in, and then see how it goes. And worst case, if we have an issue, we figure out how to address it. But bundles, yeah, I could definitely see how bundles would make you a lot more money because you can get a lot more for a cord of wood by
Right.
selling it in bundles than you would like all in one cord. So that's not a terrible idea.
I feel like people would steal things.
That's, yeah, Emma said I feel like people would steal the money and the wood, but I guess we'll see. We might actually. That's not a terrible. I like that idea.
We have the bags still, probably.
Yeah, we have the firewood bags. We can bundle them in bags and put them up in a stand. We'll build a stand.
Yeah, you could make some type of system where you put the money in and then it twists out like a bag or something, like a vending machine type of thing.
Yeah, no, that's way more.
Yeah.
That's like all technology and stuff. And I'd be lucky to build myself a roadside stand. Forget about it. He's like, oh, put a coin in like a vending machine and have it spit out bundles of firewood. That would be a cool invention, but
It wouldn't be that hard to code it.
I'll let you build it, and I'll try to keep it stocked. So Ryan's going to be working on developing a vending machine for firewood, if anyone's interested. So Jeffrey says, for yourself, the Rugged Made is a fine machine. If wasn't moving into heavy production, I bought a Rugged Made instead. Yeah, so I definitely don't want to. I don't know. I mean, it'd be kind of neat to do a firewood business, but that's just, yeah. If you're gonna sell a lot of firewood, especially where we are, we'd have to sell truckloads of it at once. We're not gonna get a lot of traffic on a firewood stand, I don't think.
And they sell the wood a lot cheaper here.
Well, the stores, they don't. Like, if you go to like the gas station stores that are all around like the campgrounds, there's not a lot of campgrounds immediately in this area. There's a couple, but not a lot. So people would have to come a good ways to come get firewood from us for like a campground,
Right.
or for even like for pretty much anything for for their fireplace. People could get it, but I don't know. I guess it's worth trying it and seeing how it goes. Jeffrey says bundles are very high profit. Sell wood for like $900 or more per cord. Also looking at selling bundles of kindling. Almost nobody sells kindling. Yeah, that's a cool idea. You can use the splitter and bust it into tiny little pieces.
Oh yeah, we used to do that.
Or just sit there with a hatchet. Just sit in a chair. Just if you're bored, watching videos, just cutting little kindling pieces up. Do you cut kindling on your log splitter, or do you use a hatchet, or how do you do it? Shibe says they make them already. Oh, they make firewood vending machines? That is cool. Oh, I totally gotta look that up.
I'm gonna look it up.
That sounds neat. I want one. Shibe says I sell 10 to 11 cord a year and take in 4 to 5 grand from my shed. Dang.
Where is he?
That's more than, that's like about double what we would have gotten for 10 to 11, because we were selling cords for 300, 350, so we would have gotten 3,500 bucks maybe for like 10 cord.
Pennsylvania.
He's in Pennsylvania, yep. So it's still cold enough where people are gonna burn wood. Do you sell mostly to is it like people who are camping? And are you in a spot where people drive by a lot, and there's campgrounds around that campers would drive by and see it? Or, like, how do you, I guess, market it? Like, bags of firewood? 'Cause where we're at,
I don't even know the closest campground would be.
the closest campground's
Hey,
15, 20 minutes from here. There's one way down beyond, like, down by those tomato farms.
Oh, yeah.
The chicken farms.
look at the vending machine. It's so cool.
That's neat. Emma's showing me the vending machine. That's kind of cool. It looks like you put a thing in, and it looks like it tells you which bin to take it out of, and you just take one and it unlocks it. That's neat. Yeah, there's an RV park up in Baileyton that we lived at for the first couple months, but that's like 40 minutes away. I'm sure there's like a couple of campgrounds around, but I haven't seen them that I recall. Jeffrey says, lucky me, my roadside stands between like 5 and 6 campgrounds and the backcountry grocery store. I only sell to campers, but recently been asked for cords of heating wood. I'm selling like 25 or 30 cords a year just in the roadside stand because of the campers. Gee. Wow, that'd be sweet. Yeah, if we could sell that much, man, that'd be like now too.
Oh, we're back.
Lost you for a sec, sorry. Kids are playing video games on the internet, it's probably affecting it. But we have been on for over an hour and a half now. Whoa. 10 o'clock.
As you reconnected, you got 9 people, now you got 8.
So yeah, we also have to get up. So tomorrow morning I'm getting up.
What are you doing tomorrow?
Well, I was going to tell you.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
In the morning, I'm going to get up and gather all the things I need. I'm going to grab some few bags of concrete we have here. Some tools, saws, things like that. Tomorrow I'm setting some posts for some fencing in concrete. We went up and used a hydraulic rock breaker on a excavator and dug out some rock up at this property on a mountain, Viking Mountain, which is right outside the Smoky Mountains here. So yeah, they live up on the mountain, and because everything's rock, they had a fencing company come out, and the fencing company started trying to install it, and they couldn't. So I went out there and dug the holes, and of course, instead of just digging post holes, which would be a nice round hole to set a post in, we ended up having to dig really big holes because we had to rip all the rock out of there, which is not going to leave a nice little clean hole to drop a post in. So I'm going to go up there tomorrow and put some sonotubes, just like 1 foot section of the sonotube down at the base of the hole, put the post in it, brace it, and then fill that little sonotube. It'll be kind of like a Bigfoot for the post, and then backfill all the rock and stuff back in, and compact it with my compactor, and then that'll give it a nice base for the posts for the fences. Gonna work on that this weekend, tomorrow. So of course I gotta run string and line it, lay everything out, put the sonotubes in, get the concrete mix, get the posts in. So it'll be a project for the day. There's 29 posts, and then also a big 14-foot steel gate that we have to install. But tomorrow the goal will be to get the posts in there. Then Saturday I'm going to pick up an excavator and going back to that same property, and I'm pulling out a bunch of brush and small trees from the side of they have a river that goes across the front of their property, so I'll be cleaning up the whole riverside along that. Doing some dirt work around their property, smoothing out and grading areas, and they have a bunch of brush and stuff around their pond and small trees. They have 2 ponds up there. They want me to clean up around their pond, so I'll use the excavator for that. Ryan, we're going to bring that tractor up there and do some other cleanup work. They get a big pile of logs up there that they want to get out of there. So I might potentially give them some credit on the work that I'm doing for if they want to get rid of those logs and get rid of them. I don't typically buy logs, but I'll see, if I can help them out. And then there's a whole bunch of stuff. Eventually, I'm still going to be doing continuous work up there. I'm going to be doing their driveway, the edge of their road that goes up their driveway, grading work. Yeah, they get a whole bunch of stuff up there they want me to work on. So I have a feeling I'll be up there for the next 2 to 4 weeks doing work, which will be nice to have kind of a steady stream of work. So tomorrow, mostly just working on putting fence posts in. In the morning, I just got to get everything loaded in the truck and ready to go. My friend's coming over to look at the Bobcat. The excavator. He's gonna take the hood off of it and bring it back to his place. He also does He does mechanic and body work, so he's gonna take that and kind of fix the whole hood. Because a new hood like $2,000, and I don't want to buy a new one. It is pretty well damaged, so most people would probably just buy a new one. But with the like $100 worth of supplies, he said he should be able to make it presentable. So, and the goal is going to be, once we get the excavator back and working and presentable again, finish up any last projects I've been working on here with this excavator and sell it. And then going forward, when I need an excavator, I'll just plan a day's worth of work and go rent it and bring it back here. The rental place is 25 minutes or so away, and I can just rent a small excavator for them for an entire weekend for about $330. So it's be a lot cheaper than owning the one that I own, because the one I have wasn't cheap. So it's all about having no debt. It's all about not being too tied down to things financially. That's why I have 3 old trucks. And I bought a less expensive sawmill this time around. Yeah, so that's what I'm working on. What are you working on tomorrow?
Me and Emma gotta do the potatoes.
Oh yeah.
We only got like, I don't know, 50 pounds of potatoes that we need to do something
so
with.
we're regularly given big bags of potatoes. So Emma and Stacey have been cutting and peeling them and chopping them up and boiling and making mashed potatoes, and then putting them in containers and freezing them so we can have them later. So it's kind of just freezing a bunch of food. We might actually get a second freezer and then also start doing some canning.
She wanted to do, or maybe it wasn't her, maybe it was one of the boys, but they wanted to make potato salad too, so we're gonna do that too.
Potato salad would be good. Unfortunately, it's a lot of carbohydrates.
You recommended that.
But we also got from the same places, we got all sorts of vegetables and meat.
Yeah.
So luckily we found some good sources here locally that's helping us out, because we don't really have a whole lot of an income. So even though we don't have a lot of expenses, it's still kind of tight, especially with the fact that we're trying to build our homestead here and trying to get a house to live in, and we got to fix it up and get into it before winter and heat and all that. So we're trying to balance everything. It's been a lot of work. So we've had some help, and we've gone out and done a lot of things to help other people too. So it's a pretty good give and take. We got a neighbor here who's been giving us a bunch of their food scraps, like 5-gallon buckets full of it.
For the pigs.
And we've just been feeding the pigs with that, which has been really awesome. So not having to spend as much money on pig food, which is nice. And eventually we'll process the pigs, put them in the freezer. So that'll be a good thing. Eventually I'm going to hatch some larger breeds of chickens. So rather than just kind of breeding mutt chickens, I'm going to...
do meat birds?
Yeah, like not the typical like Cornish cross that people buy that just grow fat and heavy and then they butcher them and kill them and whatever. Like, but the same channel I was talking about before, I'll have to find a link and share that. But they incubate eggs from their chickens, and then they hatch them. And as their chickens stop laying, they process the chickens. Even if they're smaller, and they're not going to be like 10-pound chickens, but they might be a 5-pound chicken. And they'll process it and they'll can the meat. So I was thinking about doing kind of the same type of thing. So we want to do some more canning, so we don't have to do as much freezing. Maybe build a root cellar. Might be kind of a cool thing too.
Yeah.
A root cellar, so you have like underground, like cool storage that you don't have to like pay to cool.
Right. We'll have more vegetables too when we get the greenhouse going.
Yeah, so Ryan's in the process of building a small greenhouse, and then we're gonna build a big greenhouse.
See how it goes.
And then this coming spring, I have a tiller for the tractor. I'm gonna till up a huge area, and we're gonna plant as much food and vegetables as we can. So, Jeffrey says, off to bed. I'm up at 5 a.m. again. Driven over 2,000 miles since Monday morning. Oh, hey, good night, Jeffrey.
Good night.
Yeah, we should probably take off too. It's almost 2 hours. We're gonna hang it up also. Wallhawk says you can feed the chickens some of those food scraps. Yes. Oh, right. That's probably not a bad idea too. Take out some of those food scraps and.
I'd rather them be outside doing that though. 'Cause you don't
Yeah,
noise.
because we got to build them a chicken. We still have to build them a run. So it'd be better to feed them out in the run, but we're gonna build them a secure area, especially with the cats now around. The dogs you can train, the cats are.
The cats would just
You're not going to train a cat not to kill a chicken, I don't think, especially these ones. So yeah, we got a whole lot more to talk about and show you. A lot more videos coming up here. Gonna probably work on editing some. Probably not tonight now that it's late, but over the weekend and into next week. I don't know. Who knows? I might edit a video tonight just because I'm eager to get videos out. So I'm gonna hopefully try to get a video out before Monday. I got 2 or 3 that are recorded that I need to edit, and I'm probably going to end up recording a couple more between now and Monday too. So I'm going to get behind on editing like I used to. So anyway, appreciate everybody stopping by.
Have a good night.
Have a good night. Hopefully we'll see you on the next video.
Thumbs up if you haven't
Here.
already.
Yeah, thumbs up. Like this video, subscribe, and all those good things like Stacey says.
I interrupted you though.
No, that's
Sorry.
alright. What was I saying?
I don't know.
Anyway, yeah.
Same.
So we'll hopefully see you guys here on the homestead next time. Have a good night. Appreciate you.